Hi everyone, I'm Claudine Hellmuth and I'm here at the Ranger booth at the CHA Winter Show, and I'm going to be showing you some fun stenciling techniques. So these are my new stencils that I have available at the show, and if you are familiar already with some of my paints, I'm going to be showing you some painterly techniques to do with the stencils. Now, these paints work really great with the stencils. They are a thick, creamy consistency, so you don't get a whole lot of bleeding under the stencil. And I'm a really messy stenciler, so that was a priority for me. And I was really excited that the paints worked really well with the stencils. So the paints come in this size jar as well as the small squeezy bottle size. And the small squeezy bottle size is a great tester size if you've never tried these paints. I think once you try them, you're gonna love the consistency of them. They have a really nice creamy consistency, and you're never ever going to need to shake them. They come ready to use right out of the jar, so you're not going to get any separation there. And let me show you how I like to stencil. Now, if you were like me and maybe you were stenciling in the 80s and you used a little round brush to stencil with, it's a similar technique, but I find this, you don't have to worry as much about bleeding under the stencil. So what I'm going to use is the modern red paint and the ink blending tool with a little piece of foam on top. And I'm essentially making a little acrylic paint ink pad that way. And I just find that this makes it so I'm not going to have to worry about having blobs of paint squeezing out under the stencil. And if you're a teacher or you have a store, the ink blending tool is something your customers are already familiar with, so they'll be familiar with using it, and it'll just be more intuitive for them. So all I'm going to do is just pounce away, and I'm working on gift tissue. This is like my new favorite surface to work on. And the reason that I really enjoy working on gift tissue is I can layer up my stencils, and if I have a stencil that maybe just didn't quite work, maybe it bled or something like that, I don't have to incorporate that one into my piece. If you're stenciling direct onto a collage, well, you better hope that that flower turns out how you want it to, or you're going to be having to wipe it down and start over. So what I did here for these is I collaged the backgrounds, and then I stenciled just like I'm doing right here. And then when I was done stenciling, we'll pretend I'm done stenciling, I incorporated it onto my piece using the multi-medium. So this is what I use as my glue. You can use it as a transfer medium. You can use it to glue small objects. Even I've glued my dresser drawers back together with it. So it really, you could do all kinds of things with it. But what I love about the gift tissue is that you can use it to position. So maybe you get layering ideas that you wouldn't get if you were just layering directly onto your surface. So let me show you how I would glue that on. And this would be how I would glue. This is how I glue all of my papers, whether it's tissue paper, scrapbook paper, I don't know, map, dictionary page, anything, is first on my surface, I take my multi-medium on my brush, and I'm gonna just spread it out all over my surface. So this is how I even glued on these background papers. This is a great way to hopefully get no bubbles. I'm gonna say 99% of the time, no bubbles. So then you just place your paper down on your surface, and I don't press yet, and I take more medium on my brush, and I press from the center out. And this is going to push all those air bubbles out to the edge, and you're going to get a smooth surface. So obviously I would trim off the edges, etc., but here, just for time's sake, I'll just fold it around the edge. But you get a pretty seamless look using the gift tissue that way. So that's what I just call direct stenciling. Then I've got another fun technique, which is, I'm just calling it reverse stenciling, where we're actually just using the whole stencil almost as a printing plate. So we're going to print the whole surface of the stencil. We'll get the inverse. And to do that, you want to use, let me see where did I put it? No. Here it is. Okay. You want to use the extra time slow dry medium so that way it doesn't dry before you're done doing your technique. This will slow down the drying time of your paint. And I'm just going to put out a little bit of that. The nice thing about the slow dry medium versus other mediums that slow down the drying time of the paint is it does have a binder in it. So you can use 90% medium to 10% paint and it will still set up. Otherwise, with other mediums, usually the biggest ratio of paint that you can use is 20%, or it will never, the biggest ratio of medium is, because it's got to be like 80% paint to 20% medium, or it won't set up. It'll just be sticky forever. So this, you do not have to worry about it. I go for a 50-50, but you can use as much or as little as you like. And this is just the inky roller, so I'm just brayering through, making a nice mess. And then I'm gonna ink up my stencil over here. And you could see it's not giant globs of paint. It's like a nice thin layer. And then I'm going to move it to a clean area. And I'm going to take my gift tissue. Now this could be scrapbook paper, this could be dictionary page, whatever you want to print on. And I'm going to take a clean brayer and print my surface.
What do you clean your brayers with after you paint it?
I'm going to show you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then you just peel that off. And you can see that's where the extra time really comes in handy, because if you didn't use the extra time, it would just stick to the stencil. So to clean the brayer, first I use paper towel if it's still wet. But if you're teaching a class and have excited students, or you're in a class and you're excited and you forget to clean your brayer and it dries, you can just use rubbing alcohol to get off acrylic paint. So I use that on my stencils as well when they start to get kind of gunky. So this is just regular old rubbing alcohol from the pharmacy, and that's going to remove acrylic paint. And one of my most popular blog posts is a post that's called How to Remove Acrylic Paint from Your Clothes. And I get moms and Pinterest people all coming there. And that is also using rubbing alcohol, and you can remove dried on acrylic paint from your clothes. So that's like a handy cleaning tip. Yeah. So you can, even days dried, weeks dried paint, you can get it off. So yeah, that's a handy little tip.
We're all going to go home and dig out those clothes.
Yeah, dig out those clothes, exactly. You could still salvage them. That's what beautiful rubbing alcohol will save the day. So that is the direct stenciling technique. So now we've got the inverse and then the reverse of that. Are there any questions? We're all good? Okay.
We don't know what this is.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure you guys have it at the drugstore.
Or is it
No, it's just rubbing alcohol. I'm sure it's at your pharmacy.
We use it for all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, go to Boots. Go to Boots. It'll be in like where hydrogen peroxide is. I don't know why it's called rubbing alcohol.
Like if you take the temperature, we clean the.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, to sterilize it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna like use a pen to.
First came out with it, it was to distinguish it
No, you don't drink it.
medicinal kind of purposes.
Oh, so people aren't drinking. Yeah.
They have a percentage or all different.
Yeah, there's a 90%. There's yeah, that's true.
Sorry.
Oh no, that's okay.
I messed up our dance.
Oh yeah, yes, our dance partners. So another technique I'm going to show you is, I'm sure they have it at Boots. They're like, where's this rubbing alcohol? I don't think it's just in America. Somebody Google, quick. Another technique I'm going to show you is gesso texture technique. So we all know that we can put different mediums through stencils and get some cool texturing effects, and I'm just going to show you how I do it using gesso. So I've got my tag here, or my surface, and gesso comes in my line. It comes in a jar or a little squeezy bottle. You can use either one for this technique. I'm just going to use the squeezy bottle, and we'll squeeze some out here. And then what I like to do is take a blank tag. This has a nice flexible surface, and I use that to scrape. It's just got the right amount of flexibility to it that it scrapes through. I mean, you could also use a hotel key card or expired gift card or something like that. Not for the hotel that you're still trying to access the room. Exactly. Yeah, rubbing alcohol. But this works great. It has a nice flexibility to it, and then you just peel that off and you've got your texture.
Nice.
And then here's one that's magically already dried.
How long does it take to dry for this?
Just maybe about 20 minutes. You can also, you can heat dry it with the heat tool as well. And I'm just gonna wipe down my stencil quickly before it dries and use the handy dandy baby wipe, which also have rubbing alcohol in it, ladies.
Does it?
Yeah, baby wipes do.
Would you clean your back, like your paintbrushes if you're...
You could clean dried on paintbrushes with it. Maybe you'll have to stock up before you go back to the UK.
You'll have to bring it with you when you come because you won't know.
Yeah, I'll load up. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I'll get caught. Okay, so once it's dry, we can add some color to it. And the great thing about these paints are you can dilute them, like even 95% water, and it will still be highly pigmented. So you could see all of that water in there. So you could do all kinds of watercolor effects as well. And I'm just gonna brush that on. And then I'm going to wipe it away.
5 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
What, look at the feeling.
Oh, you got your 5-minute pause.
I got my 5 minutes. That was quick. So then I just buff. You're like, oh.
Tacky.
That's the watermark resist. So that's the watermark. Yeah. And then you can take a baby wipe and enhance some of the gessoed areas.
Oh, cute.
Pretty.
Or your rubbing alcohol.
Yes, or the rubbing alcohol. I love the rubbing alcohol. My studio is always stocked with it. Okay, one more quick technique that I'll show you is embossing on Ranger's foil tape using the stencils. So let me grab that. So you can emboss using any of your stencils that you may already have, or these stencils. You can also emboss the foil tape using any embossing folders or things like that. And I just had to kind of fiddle with my embossing machine to kind of add little homemade shim to get the right amount of pressure. And this is the black gesso. I'm just going to use that as an antiquing medium. and take a brush. You want to make sure it's dry and just smoosh it all around. And then just like with the other gesso technique, I'm going to take a dry paper towel and brush that off the surface. And we were saying with the other group that it looks almost like those tin ceiling tiles. So we were making jokes about doing our whole ceiling.
We don't have them in England.
You don't have those? Oh, they're beautiful. Just Google tin ceiling tile. So, and there you could see, you can also take the handy dandy baby wipe and or the rubbing alcohol
But it's still quite funny.
and remove in some areas, and you could play with it until you get kind of the look that you want. Yeah, so that's fun. It's kind of, you could do a steampunk look or just an antique look or something like that.
Don't need tin ceiling tiles in America.
Cool.
Yay.
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 Oh, that's
So,
awesome.
Yeah, so those are some fun techniques. I've also got videos of them up on my blog, so if you need to reference them, and you're going to have some awesome videos too.
Yeah.
Yay, thanks everybody.
Thanks. Thank you, Claudine.